Yo, what it is, you know what it is. It's your man, King Musa. Welcome to the Cheat Sheet, the podcast where we decode success for creators, professors, and business owners. I'm your host, King Musa, and today we're getting into academics, digging into leadership, innovation, and the future of learning at SFA with one of the top minds on campus. Joining us today is Dr. Jordan Barkley, Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs at Stephen F. Austin State University. Dr. Barkley plays a major role in shaping the academic vision of SFA, from curriculum to faculty support to student outcomes. Let's hear how he's leading the way forward. Introducing Dr. Barkley. Hello.
Hey, Musa. Thanks for the invite.
Yes, sir. Thank you for allowing me to say my whole intro and spew, but I'm excited to know more about you. Before we jump into that, my question is, you've seen the campus so far. I've seen you on multiple tours, right? What have drawn you to SFA so far? What have caught your attention?
So I think one of my favorite things about being here on campus is just the environment. So this is I'm starting my 26th year in education.
What?
So quite a bit.
Education.
In
Okay.
education, yeah.
Can't wait to unpack that.
And my favorite campuses have always been the ones with historic buildings, very pretty landscaping. But what matters the most to me, and what my wife and I found most exciting when we came here for a tour and just to kind of walk around, was the number of students who were moving around on campus. And you don't see that everywhere.
Yeah.
I've worked on campuses where it's kind of like a ghost town.
Okay.
And so pulling into campus and parking outside the Austin building and getting out and just kind of feeling
Seeing
things
the light.
out before the interview started, I thought, I can work here. The students are excited to be here and be on campus.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. I was going to say maybe it was the squirrels, but you haven't probably encountered them yet. Pre-warning, don't feed the squirrels because they'll want more.
Sure. Yes. That was my undergrad experience. You could get the squirrels to come up and eat out of your hand if you sat still enough.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, these you could just walk up to them.
And feed
They're
them.
different.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
they're different. They're used to it.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's go ahead and dive into a little bit about you.
All right.
My first question is, can you introduce yourself and what you do here at SFA?
Sure. So as you said, Jordan Barkley, I'm the newest provost and executive vice president for academic affairs here at SFA.
Yes.
Lots of people ask me, what does that mean? What does a provost do? Because my start was in public education, I taught middle school.
Wow.
Oftentimes I'll explain
Big
to people,
upgrade.
Yeah. I'll explain to people, so in a public school, you have a principal and then a vice principal, and then you have teachers and counselors. So if you think of the president on this campus as the principal, then I'm in one of the support roles.
Yep.
So my job is to make it easier for the president to do his job by taking care of the academic enterprise.
There we go.
And so when people say, but what is that? I say, really, I was hired to be the chief advocate for faculty, staff, students, and everything they need for the academic part.
He's the dean of the deans.
Sure.
If you wanted a simple understanding, if the deans had to go to somebody, he's the last person in charge. So
Sure.
it's fun, and I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, me too.
Sir. All right. So before we dive into all of that, I want to know where you're from. Family life. Did your parents do all of this, and how many siblings do you have?
So I am originally from North Alabama.
Okay.
Which is why when people are talking to me about the heat and humidity here in Nacogdoches, I say, no, it's fine. I grew up soaking wet and sweaty every day in Alabama, and love pine trees, have been around pine trees my whole life. So,
you just home.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does feel. This is the most Alabama feeling part of Texas that I've ever lived in.
I love it.
So I grew up in a relatively small town in Limestone County, Alabama. Didn't really have a city that owned it. We were just out in the country is what people called us.
Knock of nowhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Sandwiched in between two cities that have now grown together. When I go back home, that's what it feels like. So I went to school at Auburn University. That's where I met my wife, Susan. And we've been married almost 25 years. So we celebrated our 24th anniversary in May. Big time.
I'm glad you remembered too.
Oh, well,
and you shout it out. There you go.
Yeah, it's important to remember.
Boom.
Yeah, don't get
I'm
in
learning.
trouble over that.
I'm learning.
So we've been married 24 years. We have two sons.
Yeah.
They are in Stephenville, Texas. So they're actually at Tarleton State University. One is our oldest, Harrison, is finishing his degree in elementary education. And our youngest Jack is working on a pre-med degree there. He wants to go to a med school here in Texas.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
You know, we got a place for you and everything taken care of when y'all get here.
Yes.
You know, just finish out what y'all got to do, and we'll take care of it when y'all get here, right?
Yep. So kind of got my start. I went to school to be a teacher. So I taught language arts and civics and geography.
Yes, sir.
So I taught 7th grade for 5 years, finished my doctorate at Auburn, and my doctorate's actually in reading education.
Okay.
So I wanted to go to school to learn to teach middle and high school students who were struggling to read.
Were your parents teachers?
No. I have one great aunt who was a teacher. Other than that, I was the only teacher at the time in our family.
Okay.
People
Siblings?
ask me too, are you first gen?
Yeah.
So my dad did not go to college. My mom actually was in college while I was in college.
There you go.
And she finished.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I
she
got you.
finished college when my brother did.
Okay.
And then after that, I finished.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm first gen. I'm just sort of at the same time gen.
Yeah. We're going to figure this out together.
Yeah. So, but was always encouraged to go to school, go to college. And to tell you the truth, I wanted to leave home.
Boom.
I moved 4.5 hours away for
Whoa.
school.
Okay.
Like I said, that's where I met my wife.
Yeah.
And so we've just been kind of floating all over the U.S. since then. I worked for 5 years in Alabama, and then in the Auburn area, and then took my first faculty job at Jacksonville State University. Teaching teachers how to teach.
Okay.
And was a faculty member there, and then was associate dean in the College of Ed. Moved to Texas after 9 years there. And was at Tarleton for 8 years, where I was the dean of the College of Ed, and then moved into the provost office. And then I did a 3-year stint in Colorado most recently. First time in my life where I've ever had 4 actual seasons. I actually had to have winter clothes. Enjoyed Colorado, beautiful, and we were just ready to get back home. We missed the tone and tenor of Southern hospitality and Southern food, and so. Yep. So here we are.
The hardest part about everything you just told me is your LinkedIn told me all of that too. And I'm like, oh, we're going to break that down. But you know how to tell the whole story.
Sure.
So we're going to dive into the journey in a little bit. Before we dive into the journey, as far as your hobbies, so you're not doing none of this stuff, right? What do you like to do for fun? What are your interests? What are your hobbies?
So I'm kind of a true crime junkie.
Okay.
I'm one of those crazy people who can actually fall asleep to investigative discovery or forensic files. And, I know people wonder what's wrong with people like me. I think it's my background in social science research just always has me inquiring minds want to know what did these people do. And so I do a lot of true crime. My wife and I both are avid readers. She outreads me easily, but we love books, music, television. I'm pretty musical. I've helped lead worship at a church for quite a bit, and
so vocal.
Vocal.
Okay.
I played piano when I was younger.
Oh,
if you made me do it today, I couldn't do it. But it's the background in music that helps.
I thought you never lose it. I think it's muscle memory.
You can probably peck away. I could play Mary Had a Little Lamb or something like that. But so that, and then just working out at the house. Like I love to be outside. I love to. We bought a house here that doesn't need a lot of renovations, but we have a list of projects for me to do, and
you gotta make it home.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I do to decompress.
Yes, sir. That's beautiful. Now that already lets me know our provost likes to keep himself, engaged in learning. That already lets me know we're going the right direction. Yeah. But now, the journey. You gave me a quick synopsis of it, right? So I'm gonna try to piece together the Tarleton part, the Jackson State, and then coming here to SFA, right? So get me back from the middle school job, and then how did you get into higher education with
Jacksonville State, yep.
Yeah. And then
how
the dean role. Yeah.
Sure.
So bring me through it again, one more time.
So I started my career in education in 2000.
Okay.
As a 7th grade English and civics and geography teacher.
Got you. Graduating from?
Auburn University.
Got you. All right. I'm caught up.
So started my job there, was working on my PhD while I was doing the 7th grade teaching. I loved every bit of that. I know people think that's crazy. When I retire, I
It's
will.
right before they get corrupted.
It is. It's like they're old enough to want to be treated like adults, but still young enough to want to sit in the floor,
Yeah.
and color and do all that kind of stuff every once in a while. So really thoroughly enjoyed that. I intend to go back and do that when I retire. Just go back into the middle school classroom and teach for a while. When I was teaching, I had a series of what they call clinical teachers who rotated through from Auburn University. They were in the teacher ed program. Mm-hmm. And I realized I love teaching because it allows you to impact. Let's say I had 30 kids in the classroom and I would have 4 classes, so 120 kids every year. But I realized that if I wanted to impact even more, if I worked with the teachers who were coming in to learn to teach, then I would impact that small group who then goes out and impacts everybody else. And so I finished my PhD in reading and took my first faculty job at Jacksonville State, where I was hired actually in secondary education. So I went there to prepare teachers to teach language arts.
Yes, sir.
And also taught in their reading specialist program. Funny story, I told them when they hired me, I'll do anything you want me to do. I just don't want to deal with assessment. I don't like assessment. The first class I was asked to teach was educational assessment. And then before I left, I ended up being the associate dean who was largely responsible for accreditation, which is mostly assessment and outcomes and how do you know you're doing a good job. So I learned really early on not to say what you don't want to do because that's
the first place they're going to put you at.
Will end up doing exactly that. Yeah. So my advice to all classroom teachers is don't say you don't want to coach because they'll throw you out on a field and ask you to coach something. So I worked in Alabama a total of 14 years, 9 in higher ed and 5 in the middle school classroom. I came home from work one day and I told my wife, I was like, I really think we're supposed to move. I think we're supposed to do something else. I want to show our 2 sons that when you want to do something, you should be brave enough to do it and not let your place be the limiting factor. I had tons of college students who, I'll give you an example. I had a student in my office one day and I know she wanted to major in marine biology.
Yes, sir.
Well, Northeast Alabama is not a mecca for marine biology. We have lakes and streams and rivers, no oceans right there. And she changed her major because of where she lived. And I came home that day and said, I don't want to do that. I want to show these boys of ours that if you want to do something, you have the power to make it happen. So I didn't apply for a lot of jobs. I applied for a job in Texas, and it was at Tarleton. And I got the call from them to come be their dean for the College of Ed. So I spent 5 years in the dean role at Tarleton, leading some great people, working alongside fantastic faculty, student growth, tremendous. And after 5 years, got a call from the provost, and she said, hey, will you come to the provost office and be the associate provost? And we also want you to work on accreditation for the university, not just the college. And I said, sure. So I did 3 years in the provost office. My provost retired. I left Tarleton at the same time. And that's how I got to Colorado for 3 years at the University of Northern Colorado, where I was vice provost for academic resources and faculty affairs, and worked with some of the best colleagues I've ever had. Which is a theme. I feel like every time I change jobs, I meet the next best group of colleagues.
There you go. You're going in the right direction.
Yeah. So spent 3 years there, enjoyed that, got a lot of great experience, learned a new state's model for funding and curriculum development. And last year, a search firm reached out to me and said, hey, are you interested in being a provost at SFA? And I said, no. And they said, well, why not? And I said, I don't even have a CV. I'm not looking to move. We love the mountains. I can ski every weekend.
It's comfortable. It's comfortable.
They called me again and said, would you reconsider? And I was like, well, let me talk to my wife, like every good spouse should do.
There you go.
So I go home, talk to her, and Susan said, I really think you should consider this. And I happened to be coming to Texas that weekend to see the kids.
Yes.
And she said, just talk to your friends, talk to the boys, see what. I came home from that Texas trip and said, I think I'm supposed to apply.
Boom.
And then it just snowballed from there, and had the interview, was a finalist. And I seriously, when I came to campus, I called and I was like, I told the boys, it just feels like home. And Susan was here with me during the interview. And when I met her that night at the hotel, I said, "What'd you think of the town?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, it's super familiar. It's exactly what we had been looking for." So it really does feel like coming home.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. Wonderful story. Wonderful story. Now, the vision, right? You here now. You have a lot of experiences, so I'm sure. What is the vision for being the provost and the academic curriculum and all of that?
Sure. So my philosophy on leadership in academics is the best leaders are the best advocates. So my job, to the degree to which it can be, is to find a way to yes.
Okay.
So there is an infinite number of asks of me every day, every semester, every academic year. There's a finite amount of dollars that an institution has to do that. And so my job is not really just to pass out money. My job is to encourage people to get together to think about how we can best leverage those dollars and meet the needs of our students. And so my vision would be for academics at SFA to continue being the best that it possibly can be for students. Okay. I love what regional institutions like SFA can do. I am a product of, without a regional, I didn't go to that regional, but there was a regional institution in my hometown. Without that regional institution being there and without college educated parents, I don't know that I would have thought, oh, college is a natural thing for me.
There we go.
So I see SFA as sort of a beacon. We're here as this flashing light signaling to people all around us, you can come here. We have the Purple Promise. We have fantastic financial aid packages. We have other scholarships and awards that we can help you make this your reality if that's what you want to do.
Yes, sir.
I don't think everyone has to go to college. I don't think everyone has to follow the same career path. I do think it's my job to make it possible if that's what someone wants to do.
There we go. Okay. I like that vision. It's making it possible, becoming the light. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, you've been in these roles before. So you understand the challenges, knowing that there's previous provosts behind you, things like that. SFA is going through changes right now.
Right.
You know, so what do you, being so new, having been in the light of everything, what are some challenges you've kind of experienced before and you're kind of looking to navigate through as you're starting this new role?
Sure. So the beauty of my career is that the last few years I've been in a support role to the provost, or a support role to the provost who's supporting the president. Fast forward, now I'm in the role.
Yes.
Surrounded by people who are in support roles to me. And so I'm very aware of the work that has to be done in what I'll call the weeds. So I've spent the better part of my career in the weeds with my head down, just trying to solve problems and advocate for resources and get things ready so that the provost can do what it is that they need to do.
There you go.
Now I'm that person. But I feel like my extensive experience in the weeds uniquely qualifies me and prepares me to be the leader for academic affairs. I'm not ever going to ask someone to do something that I haven't done myself or wouldn't be willing to do.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's important for an organization of any kind, not just higher ed, to have leaders that have that philosophy. My job is not to sit behind a desk and tell people what to do. My job is to encourage people to think, to rally people together. And sometimes, just to be honest, it's to stand on the balcony and look down and try to figure out, so what are the parts and pieces that other people can't see?
Yes.
And so when you can take that 35,000-foot view, you can come back to your group and say, I think we have some bigger issues. I think we have some systemic issues we need to work on.
What?
And so that is how I plan to approach the provost role.
Sir.
In terms of challenges here, I mean, you mentioned there's been some leadership transitions and things. I've yet to be on a campus where that's not the reality.
Boom.
You know, it's just what we deal with in higher ed. I'm totally fine with that.
Yes,
you know, I feel like, would I love to say that I've been at SFA for 25 years? Yes, because then I would have the institutional memory and history.
Yes, sir.
I don't. So my job is to leverage that in the employees around me who do. And so I see the value of the people who've lived this experience here at SFA.
Yes, sir.
So the transition and, I mean, what some people might call turmoil, that doesn't worry me because there are tons of good people here who've weathered that, who can help me be successful.
Okay, you're doing great. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Now, I'll give you some more accolades. To be honest with you, I just had an interview with the president yesterday, talking about just legislation and everything. Now, the greatest thing is to know that the dude who'd hire you is saying in that interview, oh, the guy we have coming in, he has a great plan of modernizing and making sure students are getting the education that's, not making it vocational, but making it, innovational. Like you yourself as the student is getting better within that. So the question is, what are some success stories, some innovation? You said you worked through the weeds and everything that you are looking to kind of implement for SFA or
Yeah. So sort of a broad stroke answer to that would be I could choose to spend my time focusing on these small, isolated things, or I could think a little larger. And the reality for this institution, and really for any institution in the United States right now, is we are recruiting students who did not have the same high school experience that we did.
Come on.
Who will not have the same college experience that we did. And so the real challenge there is to figure out how to meet this group of students that we're recruiting where they are. And people say that. They give lip service all the time. We're gonna support these students, we're gonna do this. But if supporting the students means you're offering them the same thing that was offered to you, that's not gonna work. Here's a for example. So when I went to the university, I don't know, maybe they had a tutoring center. I don't know. I was lucky enough, fortunate enough to not need the tutoring center in the education program that I was in. Do I think students now benefit greatly from tutoring, from the ARC? Absolutely. Do I think that we should make services like that more robust and push them out to students, put it in their faces during orientation and constantly remind them through advising and faculty conversations that those resources are there and there's no stigma attached to them. It's how you be successful. Yes. So for me, transforming education is not so much about the what I call the bright, shiny things that might attract people like, oh, look over there, they're doing something fancy. It's not. It's about
new propaganda.
Yeah. It's about talking to students and saying, be honest with me about what you need. And I will be honest with you about the best way I think we can get that. Okay. So I would say to every student, if you will allow us to help you, we will do that. That is our job. My background has given me lots of opportunities to walk that walk, meeting students where they are. I said in my interview, one of the things that I try to do is to be proactive. I don't like for things to blow up in my face and then me have to problem solve. I can problem solve. I've been called a fixer before. It's in my personality and my nature. But I would much rather, by constantly being engaged with the student population, put solutions to potential problems in front of them instead of saying, come to me when you have a problem. You don't have to do that.
Come on.
Let's just avoid the problems if we can. And so an example that I shared during the interview when I was dean of the College of Ed at Tarleton, we spent a lot of time talking about teachers have to pass these certification exams and universities are held accountable if they don't. And so your choice is send students out to take the certification exam and then remediate them when they come back and they haven't passed. Or
implement it in your
build a better curriculum that actually prepares them to pass these tests. We're not teaching to the test.
Come on.
But we're using the test to help inform the content that we're delivering. And so that's really more my speed. That's how I like to operate, is to anticipate problems and be proactive versus constantly knee-jerk reacting to everything.
That's exciting. You're going to find out that we have all the right pieces. We just need the puzzle maker to implement it together. So.
And let me say to that, I think you have the puzzle masters already here.
Come on.
I don't think
it's just the communicate.
It's really just someone to put all of them together in a room and say, how do we leverage these resources and do the best that we can?
Someone who can listen. There you go. All right. I appreciate that. Follow-up question to that. For most people, they feel like students, these podcasts are for students because I'm a student. But I think a group of people who really matters is the faculty. What are some things to kind of reassure faculty of, hey, as Dr. Barkley is here, he's here for you, and things they can kind of look forward to and,
So my sons like to give me a hard time because when I was dean, I did drag them to most everything that we did as a family, and it was on campus. And so the running joke was, oh, Dad is the people's dean. That's just like out amongst the people all the time. That is what I think an academic leader is supposed to do.
We win.
Yeah. And so
3 for 3, we win. We have all 3 of them. Yes.
So what I hope faculty will see is a provost or an academic leader who reaches out, who wants to meet them where they also are and hear from them. Tell me what resources you need. Tell me what struggles you're having. But also tell me what's working really well so that I can ensure that we continue doing it.
Okay.
It's not always just about problem solving. And so one of the things that my administrative assistant or executive assistant and I are going to work on is scheduling meetings with every academic program, not the college.
Right.
College is too big.
Right.
People won't talk. Not the people will talk, as many people won't. Though.
Right.
So what I'd like to do is schedule meetings with every single academic program on this campus throughout this first year, hear from them, figure out what is it that has been working, what's not working, what do you see? Because I don't feel like I was hired to cast the vision by myself for the institution. I feel like I was hired to talk to everyone in the division, build consensus, and then put forward a vision that represents what the majority of the people in this college want to do. I'm convinced that what we'll find here at SFA is we have a group of faculty who are absolutely dedicated to what they do. They love what they do. They might get frustrated from time to time because who doesn't in their job? But at the end of the day, they really care about the students and they want what they're doing to make a difference and to matter. And my job is to figure out how to resource them as best as possible and connect them to other resources and degree programs and things like that so that we are the best versions of ourselves for you all as students.
All right. Thank you. Follow-up question. Now, you are Mr. Grades in every other form, right? But I don't think grades is the only way that success is defined.
Sure.
You know, so how would you define success?
Well, first of all, thank goodness grades are not the only way success is defined because I made a C in personal fitness.
Man.
I made a C in lots of history classes. And I don't think those were accurate representations of my knowledge. I think they were accurate representations of how much effort I wanted to put into the class at the time. So grades, I think grades are necessary. I'm a firm believer in constant assessment and, you know, giving feedback to students is the only way for a student to grow. And one of the biggest pieces of feedback is a grade. What I'm more concerned about is that we're not setting an environment where students don't know how they're doing until they get a grade.
There you go.
That's the problem. So if we're assessing constantly, early and often is what I say about assessment. If we're assessing early and often, then you have students who, when the semester is over, they're not surprised by the grade that shows up on their transcript. They understand it, and in most situations will own it. Because like I said with personal fitness, I earned the C because I just wasn't willing to do all the stuff they wanted me to do. So I think the amount of effort that a student puts into something is an indicator of growth and knowledge, the time that they spend doing that, and then also applicability.
Right.
So you could earn, let's say you earned a D in a class. Ideally, that's not great, and it's going to hurt your GPA. What I'm really concerned about, though, is when the class is over, can you take the material and can you apply it? And I've had to have a conversation with students. In teacher ed, it's not uncommon for everybody to think, oh, I'm an A student. I'm going to make A's. Well, the truth is a lot of teacher ed students don't make A's. The other truth is, and I've said this to both of my sons, sometimes the B that you earn is the A that someone else earned.
Right.
So if you put me today in a calculus class, it's been a long time since I've had to have a math class, but certainly calculus, my C would probably be some other person's A.
Right.
It is an accurate representation of me doing my dead level best to master that. And that's okay, because at the end of the class, I would hope that even with my C, I was able to apply the principles of calculus and make it work for me. So that's really, to me, that's way more important than just a letter grade.
Okay.
Grades come and go.
Okay. So it's just about applying what you learn. Yes, sir. I like that. Final question before we go. Advice that you'll give to students coming up in this fall semester. You have the Purple Promise, which is going to be live. Students from all types of backgrounds, giving opportunities for, you say, into the beacon, into the light. By the way, we do have Twin Towers that have the light. So you said that kind of popped up in my head. But what advice would you give to the incoming students, the students who need to finish out, our seniors, and then those who are just trucking through and, hey, you're going through the journey?
So I think the best piece of advice I can give is it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing, whether you're in college, you're in your first job, you're at the end of your career, mid-career, whatever. You are always going to encounter people who tell you no.
Yeah.
People who are not interested in your success, people who are more interested in their own
doing their
success.
job.
Yeah. but sometimes you do encounter people who are more interested in what they can get out of you than what you can get out of yourself. And so I have a little reminder permanently inked on my body. And it's
nice way of saying that.
It says, even in the mud and scum of things, something always sings. It's a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote. And it's a constant reminder to me that even when things feel daunting and overwhelming, and when you feel like life has dealt you a miserably bad hand, you can always find a way to excel in that situation. You can always find a way to be happy, to sing, to do whatever it is that you need to do. And that's what I tell students.
Right.
You are 100% in control of whether or not you give up. You are. And at the end of the day, if you can say that you did the best that you absolutely could do and you're satisfied with that, you're good.
Right.
And that's what I hope students remember. You know, I would love for everyone to leave here with a 4.0. I would love for everyone to leave here with honors. But really what I want is for everyone to leave here having earned a degree that they feel like was worth it, that they feel like positions them to make a difference in the world. And so I would say my advice to everybody is to just persist, especially when you feel like the world is telling you not to.
Come on. That's right before the tunnel.
Yep.
Okay. I like that. I appreciate you. Now, is there anything else you want to shout out, let us know, or just kind of give us an insight about before we go?
Again, I'm going to say thank you for this opportunity. I mean, one of the things that I've loved about SFA is people have not been afraid to reach out and say, can we talk to you? Can we get to know you? Can we meet you? Susan and I are super invested in inserting ourselves into the community, and not just here at SFA, but also in Nacogdoches.
Yes, sir.
And so I would say, if you're curious about what a provost does, you want to come check it out, feel free, email me, stop by the office. I'm over in the Austin building.
That's really exciting. Well, thank you, Dr. Barkley, for joining us today and giving us the behind the scenes and look for how academics at SFA are growing and evolving. It's inspiring to know that our university is in the hands of people who truly cares about student success.
Thank you.
To our listeners, stay focused, ask questions, and take advantage of the resources around you. You've been listening to The Cheat Sheet with your host, King Musa. Subscribe and follow us on social media. Stay tuned for more conversations and to help us level up. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep thriving. I'll see y'all later.